In this video, you'll see what are the parents' perspective on intersex children, whether or not if doctors regret surgically removing an intersex body part, and intersex children themselves who talk about what they think and what they think is right. I believe those who are intersex have the right to participate in surgery or not. It is their body and they are in charge of it. When you see the part at the end where the intersex children are talking about intersex, they believe that it is your own body and you get to choose what you want to do, whether it's surgery or not, and how it's not wrong to be an intersex. They all have a choice and have the right to change, not their parents or doctors, but themselves.
Your child is born with the anatomy of both a boy and a girl. These children used to be known as hermaphrodites. Now they're called simply intersex. In the hospital, there's often pressure to perform surgery right away to make the gender clear. But tonight, you're going to meet someone who grew up and concluded the choice that was made was wrong. Here's my Nightline co-anchor, Juju Chang.
It's the first question when a baby's born. Is it a boy or a girl? Sometimes the answer isn't that simple.
They told me that he was intersex.
Intersex, meaning born with both male and female genitals.
Like, no big deal. Okay, what else?
It's more common than you might think.
The first thing I said when we heard, I said, don't let him get the surgery. He hasn't gotten the surgery, has he? I feel weird because I don't feel like I should be going into the girls' room.
Been castrated.
And he's been castrated, so that is likely to have a lifelong impact.
And irreversible.
And irreversible.
Differently? Absolutely. But I was dealing in my heart of hearts with what I thought was the right thing to do.
So, what did you think?
I think it was so interesting that moment when he said that he didn't have any regrets. Like, I was like, wow, that's, and I guess, you know, you would have to do that in order to avoid feeling.
We asked Dr. Hensel to clarify his lack of regret.
If you want the truth, I don't feel regret about it because I did the best I could do based on what I knew.
Because there's no clear protocol on how to treat intersex children, these operations are still happening, which is why the Crawfords are suing doctors at Medical University of South Carolina and the state, claiming they assigned their adopted child the wrong gender. The case involving their son, MC, could potentially provide a first-of-its-kind, precedent-setting ruling. We reached out to the hospital where the surgery was performed. They declined our request for an interview but issued this statement. MUSC will vigorously defend in this case with a preponderance of evidence that will also serve to explain why MUSC does not accept the information as alleged.
Harming me for the rest of my life.
I wouldn't be who I am today if I was an intersex, but yeah, I wish those surgeries didn't happen.
Hi, I'm Emily, and I found out I was intersex when I was 10 years old.
Hi, I'm Hannah, and I found out I was intersex when I was 17.
Hey, I'm Pigeon, and I found out I was intersex when I was 18. There's like a silent epidemic happening in this country and all over the world.
All over the world.
And so for me, and for a lot of children, what happens is they take out our internal testes. Then, like, the worst part that I believe happens is, to me when I was 4, is the clitorectomy. So what you hear happening is like female genital mutilation in other places happens to intersex children here. And it's called intersex genital mutilation. And they literally just removed my clitoris. And when I was 11, they did a vaginoplasty. So they, without my permission or consent, stretched out my vagina in ways to make it more accommodating to my future husband's penis. And these are a few of the things that happen to intersex children all over the world every day. And it's an injustice, and it's an attack against like our human rights.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you don't even know, like the child needs, if you want to get a surgery, it's fine, but you need to be able to do that for yourself, make that own decision when you're old enough and completely well informed.
We talk a lot about informed consent and like being able to make a decision for yourself, but that means knowing what it is that's happening, knowing why it's happening, knowing that's what you want and what you're going to want in the future. Like, and your doctor being honest with you and not trying to manipulate you.
And what happens is, at least for my particular intersex variation, is there's this idea that we are not fulfilled or not completely developed female children in order to maintain the binary thinking. And then they tell our parents, we can help you fix your child and make them a complete female. We have this surgery over here, these pills over here.
Most of the time, the surgeries are unnecessary and just purely aesthetical, and just because driven out of fear of non-binary bodies.
Like cutting off clitoris is not necessary, it's not medically necessary, there's no reason for it. Taking out our gonads, taking out our testes when they're not a problem, that's completely unnecessary, and then it means we go on hormones for the rest of our lives.
It's also like kids that have a big nose or something, they don't ask their parents, oh, should we just fix it real quick?
Even if a child didn't have surgery, like you, I would say like it's horrible that doctors are making you feel ashamed about the body you were born with.
Yeah, I've had so many times where doctors have tried to both remove my testes and build me a vagina, is how I describe it, because that's what they were literally going to do, vaginoplasty. Or I don't know, up until this day there's still doctors who are like scaring me into having surgery, trying to tell me horror stories of people getting cancer in order to get me to have surgery, but they have no statistical proof, there's no medical proof. The only reasons they're doing that are because they're scared and they think that it's wrong, or that my body is wrong or needs to be fixed.
Those surgeries need to stop because they bring so much more complications and traumas. And there's nothing wrong with having a surgery if you decide it for yourself, but you have to decide.